Hi guys, Michael here, and today I wanted to share with you a project that I've been working on for a few years now, on and off, and during the weekends when I have a chance. I'm in the process of releasing a bunch of new models, and I figured I should go through some of the prototypes that have led me down the road of inventing Knuckies. It's a phone stand that sticks to any phone or case, lets you stand your phone and grip it and multitask. So I think you'll find it pretty interesting and hopefully insightful, and I'm going to bring you over here so you can check them out. So Knuckies in a nutshell. It is a 3D printed phone stand that I used to assemble and ship to people. It was 3D printed by a company called Shapeways. They print things and ship it to me or anybody who orders it on their website. So somebody could order just the plastic of this on their website. They would print it and ship it, and I would get a percentage of the profit without having to do anything. So I ordered a bunch of these, assembled them myself. They have a bearing and they articulate right out of the gate. It's printed with layers of plastic sand over and over and over again, and during each layer it's shot with a laser that melts it together into this form, and it allows you to right out of the gate articulate and move, which is something really uncommon. So it has a 3M adhesive with a really small base, which is one of the main problems of this version, which I used to sell. It doesn't harm the phone or the case or anything that you stick it onto, but it came unstuck. Just to go over some of the benefits, it's a portrait landscape stand. It gives you a good grip, lets you spin it really easily, and it's nice for multitasking and holding things while you have your phone. So with this model, the very small base kept getting unstuck because it was such a small surface area. The adhesive would eventually fall out over time. The bearing was very difficult to snap in to this little button here. You had to like shove it into this thing. So I tried to injection mold it. For the past year I've been working with China trying to finalize this prototype, which is a modified version of that. What's the problem with this guy? Well, the main problem with this was that it cost $25 for me to even make $2 of profit. It was $10 for this, 30 cents for that, another $1 for the adhesives, then shipping. It ended up costing people $25. This guy, at the end of the day, even though it was injection molded, if it cost $3 for the plastic to be made, or $2 for everything there, and then $3 once it's assembled, it would still have to be shipped out from China, then shipped to the customer. It would end up still costing people $25 to $30. It's a lot of money to ask people to buy a little thing like this on their phone to stick when they already have to spend $25, $30 on a case. The problems with this guy, the base was bigger, which is great, stuck on much nicer, but because of that we had to make it taller, and the plastic was over the base, which produced a lot of scraping, as you can hear there. So that, along with the human element involved in assembling this thing, the benefit of this guy is that I never had to assemble these little axles. With this, you have to push the axles in once the plastic is made separately. You have to assemble each of the axles here. You have to push the bearing, you have to mount it with a you have to melt this little cap on top instead of pushing it through like the old one. So that, along with the plastic, if I was going to make this out of plastic, it would have to vary from handle to base. The plastic would be different, so that means the colors would be different. These factors, along with it coming down to you not knowing if you're going to get a working model right out of the bat from that injection mold, just didn't make me feel comfortable investing thousands of dollars on a mold. So I tried to go back to the drawing board. I tried out metal ones with pre-existing parts so I wouldn't have to make a mold. It's just too difficult. The assembly process was impossible. I tried rivet gunning a bearing to a washer and then trying to find some kind of a garden hose clamp to clamp around it and a hinge. Yeah, not happening. So I went back to the drawing board and I tried making a bunch of 3D printable versions. Entirely 3D printed. They rotated and functioned the same way, but at first my concern was that it wasn't going to spin as nice. But over time I saw that if I kept spinning this, these guys spin really well. They smooth out. I made the base bigger on the 3D printed versions, but I kept trying to add this added rotation, this added spin I tried this little anchor here, and it just was too wobbly. It had a 1 point, and it would just fall over when it was used as a stand. I tried this guy, which is the closest version to the original that we have, but again, because I had to want to make it rotate like this, it just kept falling over. When I put it as a stand, if I were to try and emulate this here, I would go and try and swipe it, and it would just fall over because of that rotation. So one day I decided to super glue that little piece so that it wouldn't rotate. And when I super glued it, the thing stood still and it didn't fall over. So I had just spent so much time trying to get this bearing to work with this thing, because it's cool, the bearing spinning is nice, and try and get the ergonomics. And I realized if I had to choose between the bearing and the ergonomics, which would I choose? And I just realized that what I missed the most was the comfort of holding the phone and not having to worry about it falling out. So I made a better prototype, which I turned into like an anchor. This is one of the prototypes that I'll be releasing, one of the models that I'll be releasing soon. And I added some little awesome features. So now this thing clicks down, and it stays in there, so it doesn't rotate around and flop around. It clicks up so that you can hold it well. It spins. It's crazy. Like, it's completely 3D printed, and it spins. Like, enough for it to be enjoyable and fun to flick around. Still functions great as a stand, and I'm excited about it. I have a bunch of different types that I'm going to be releasing soon, so please check out the website, subscribe to be notified, subscribe to this channel, subscribe to life, and yeah, I look forward to getting your thoughts. Take care, guys.